Imagine putting your heart and soul into creating a podcast, only to find it unsustainable in the long run. Sounds frustrating, doesn't it? You're not alone. Many podcasters grapple with the high costs of production, the time investment, and the unpredictable nature of advertising revenue. It's a tough gig, and it's easy to see why relying on a single income stream can make it even harder. But hang in there, because successful podcasters have found ways to diversify their income streams. Consider the case of Podcast X, a highly successful podcast that has mastered the art of income diversification. The beauty of Podcast X's strategy lies in its multifaceted approach. They've woven together a tapestry of income sources, each thread contributing to the overall strength and resilience of their financial structure. Firstly, they leverage advertising. By partnering with brands that align with their content and audience, Podcast X has created a steady flow of income. They've turned their popularity and reach into a platform for advertisers, a win-win situation for both parties. Then there's sponsorship. They've formed strategic relationships with companies who sponsor entire episodes or segments. This not only provides a notable income stream, but also adds value to their audience by introducing them to relevant products or services. But Podcast X doesn't stop there. They've tapped into the power of merchandise sales. With a loyal following, they sell everything from t-shirts to coffee mugs, turning their brand into a tangible and profitable enterprise. Lastly, they've opened the doors for listener donations. By offering their audience a chance to contribute, they've cultivated a sense of community and shared ownership. This not only supplements their income, but strengthens the bond with their listeners. This diversification acts as a safety net. If one income stream were to dry up, others are there to keep the podcast afloat. Podcast X is not the only one. Many successful podcasters have diversified their income in similar ways. Then there's Podcast Y, a passion project turned profitable venture. The creators of Podcast Y took their love for a niche topic and transformed it into a thriving enterprise. But how did they do it? By understanding their audience and capitalizing on their unique interests. Picture this, you've crafted a podcast that delves deep into the world of vintage comic books. You've cultivated a dedicated audience of comic book enthusiasts who share your passion. Now it's time to turn that passion into profit. Podcast You did just that. They offer premium content subscriptions, providing their audience with exclusive interviews with comic book artists, in-depth analyses of classic comic book series, and early access to episodes. This not only generates a steady income, but also deepens their connection with their listeners. But they didn't stop there. Podcast Y also ventured into live events, selling tickets to comic book conventions and meet and greets with industry legends. They even launched online courses that teach fans about the history and artistry of comic books. By understanding their audience's interests, Podcast Y was able to create unique income opportunities that align with their podcast's theme. This approach not only diversified their income streams, but also enriched their content and strengthened their relationship with their listeners. Diversification is not just about having multiple income streams, it's about finding the right mix that works for your podcast and your audience. So what's the secret to a sustainable podcast? The key lies in income diversification. Embrace the art of exploring different income streams, from sponsorships to merchandise to subscriptions and even live events. Understand your audience, their interests and needs. Balance your income sources. Find the right mix that suits your podcast and your listeners. It's about creating a robust, resilient strategy that can weather any storm. Remember, the path to a sustainable podcast lies in diversifying your income streams. It's not just about survival, it's about thriving in the world of podcasting.